Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan Sinclair, and I'm here to go over E. coli concentration determination using a cultivatable microbiology technique. This is the Loma Linda University Environmental Microbiology Lab. So Mr. Thomas Heil here is looking at the results from his work to figure out what the concentration of his E. coli titer is, and also his MS2 titer. So what he did was take an E. coli strain. We call it F-amp, and that was from one of these vials here. It's simply the E. coli that had been grown in TSB, trypticase soy broth, and that was incubated so that it's at a log phase of growth. And at that point, he then plated out the E. coli on trypticase soy agar plates here to determine what the titer was, or what the concentration is. So he did some dilutions here where he first 10 to the -1 all the way down to 10 to the -6, and you can see that the 10 to the -5 is the one that has a lot of growth. Now his colonies here are a little bit big. I think that for this kind of thing with E. coli, you're pretty safe to do something like 18 to 22 hours. Just to determine what this E. coli is doing and what the titer is. So this particular E. coli is one that we call F-amp because it's resistant to ampicillin streptomycin mixture, and it is also the one that we use to host the bacteriophage MS2. So this particular E. coli is resistant to those antibiotics. So what we did was we mixed those antibiotics into this agar as well when we made it. And this is TSA, again, that's trypticase soy agar. So you can kind of see the result here. And so we used a typical 10-fold dilution series, and to do that, we used 1.5 microcentrifuge tubes to make our dilutions. And so he labeled them as 10 to the -5, and that means that's the 5th dilution down. But actually, since we took 0.1 of this original concentration here and started our dilutions from that, this 10 to the -5 here is actually, when you calculate it out, it'll be 10 to the -6. So that's just the way we notated our dilutions. Here's Thomas's results for the MS2. The MS2 is a bacteriophage that is hosted by that E. coli F-amp. And so when we did our titer for the MS2, he had to skip a few of the dilutions here. You can see it goes from 10 to the -3 to 10 to the -6, and then 10 to the -8. So 10 to the -8 has a good number of plaques. You can see those plaques here. These are these zones where there is a lack of the E. coli lawn growing. So what he did was then count these up, and you're able to figure out how much of that MS2 titer you have, similar to what we did with the E. coli. So let's flip that over and then see how that looks. So the E. coli lawn itself, when it grows, it won't have this grainy sort of appearance, but after it has the MS2 in there making the plaques, you kind of notice a grainy sort of appearance. But these plaques showed up pretty well, so you're able to determine that those are the MS2. So what we could also do is look over here at some of these that are a little bit the few numbers to count as far as MS2 goes. So you can see there that that wasn't the one. That was one that he had some clumps in the agar before it poured. Let's go here to this 10 to the -1. So you can see that this is typical for what MS2 looks like on a lawn where you have sort of a grainy appearance to it. You're not going to see the plaques because there's way too many MS2, and it just kind of really destroyed the E. coli lawn there, and that's what it looks like. If you're just starting out and you see this, you might get a little discouraged before you do enough dilutions to get to the point where you see this here, or even this here. This is 10 to the 9. You can also look at the difference between these, like if you just have this E. coli here and you smell it versus the odor of this MS2, they're going to smell a little different. The one that is MS2 is actually the bacteriophage that's kind of chewing up and lysing the E. coli. So this is another good one. You can kind of actually see the plaques here, and they're too numerous to count as far as plaques go. But if you smell these, this one versus the E. coli here, they're going to smell different. This one has more of a bacteria. Well, you all know what E. coli smells like. This one smells like a little bit different. It has a bit of an oatmeal smell, unfortunately.